Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to Docu-Sweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, but through our own lens, honey, which, listen, can be a little peppery, it can be a little salty, and by a little, I mean, let's face it, a lot, and it's very bitter. But at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet. Hi!
Hi. So today we are talking about Love After Lockup, Season 4, Episode 34, Ditched and Dismissed.
Yeah,
Whew.
honey.
Who
Yeah.
got ditched in this one? Chris.
Chris!
Your namesake.
Yes, Chris, who, by the way, you know what? Okay, I need to talk about Chris for a second.
Go ahead.
Now, one of the first episodes we had seen before we met him, we saw like a picture of him. Okay. And I think that there is something to a generation of people of like people who like this isn't the picture I'm talking about, but there was like one picture where he looked truly like not cute. You know what I'm saying? Like not cute. Like he looked gross a little bit. But that's the one. Okay. So but actually now that I've seen him like talk and such, he's kind of handsome. What a horrible one picture that is. And it really goes to show you some angles aren't everyone's favorite. But I think that I actually like Chris. I like him. Like not like him, but I kind of like first of all, I 100% like his personality better than Gabby's. Like Gabby is a nightmare. So should we start with them?
Yeah. Chris and Gabby. So, what happened in their episode is yes, Chris is correct in the fact that it does kind of humanize him a little bit for me. I still can't forget that he said, I hope your pee is wet, and then trying to have sex with her in like the disgustingest bathroom ever, and just like, whatever. But it's been 2 months since he has gone into the halfway house, and Gabby is, I don't know what they're doing or what's happening, but she's a little upset. She says that he's acting different.
Yep.
Because she has found evidence that he has been having 59-minute and 47-minute conversations with telephone numbers that she does not recognize. And I said, who even looks at their the telephone bill? They save numbers now? I mean, like, I haven't looked at a telephone bill in so long.
Like, okay, so this is what's happening, and this happens both ways because women in this show who have men that were incarcerated, they give them phones, right? So because of that, she has access to the phone records. Like, I don't know if she has to log into like her My Verizon account and have like a print up of things, and she's had to like make a password and she has to like get it. But then not only did she look at the phone numbers, but then she would have to pick the phone number she doesn't know and then like Google search it to find that it's not whatever, and then find it's a lady. You know what I'm saying? So this is like so she does that. Now the whole time Gabby has been like since last episode been like, well, I also have a secret that's going to be really hard to keep when he's out. So she's already been laying the fact that I think that she has something scary. But now she's like blaming it on Chris that like he's having this phone conversations with women and it's like that it's sketchy. And he throughout this episode says a couple of times, yeah, but like we never went on a date. We never I never touched them. And it's like, yeah, Chris, no fucking shit. You have been in prison and you were in a halfway house. You didn't have a choice. You didn't have a chance, honey. That's nothing to hang your hat on. That's like basically what hasn't happened yet because like you don't have control over space and time. But Gabby during this first phone call with him has done her hair in a different way. I think I like it. Like I like that curly hair, like I think she looked really, really good. And she had on a white onesie, which I love a onesie, and she has like a bomb ass body. So like it's cute. It's very like Naked Wardrobe or Fashion Nova-esque,
Naked Wardrobe, that's what it's called?
Or like there's like different kinds of like fashion-y kind of things that look like that kind of brand. But
yeah.
The other thing that Chris says is like, oh, when he was like talking to Gabby, he's like, they are not sexual females that I was talking to. And I thought that was very interesting. They're not sexual females.
I feel like men like Chris don't. And I've met a few of them. This is how I know they exist. There are men out there who do not see any value from a woman besides her vagina, her bearing of his kids, and her taking care of him in the house. And I dated such one who was like, you're the first female, is what he called me. You're the first female that I think is funny. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, like I don't have female friends. I don't think that men and women can be friends because all I'm gonna do is want to have sex with them. But like you, I could just talk to you, and it's like you're the homie. And I'm like, and you don't think that's weird? Like, and Chris strikes me as one of those men. One of those men who like doesn't have female friends who he's not trying to fuck.
Yeah. He already has one, his mom. He's cool. He has like one female friend he's not trying to fuck. It's his mom. Him and his mom are great. He doesn't need
Yeah.
anyone else.
I think she's like great with all the kids. Like even Steven, first of all, his brother Steven is way better looking than him, but I hated those little bobos at the end of his hair. And secondly, like the way
I disagree. I'm sorry, I have to put my foot down. I absolutely disagree that Stephen, honey, is like not that was one of the reasons why I was like, oh, Chris is cute because his brother is definitely not. A, B, Stephen doesn't say one word, honey. Like, does that person like have a voice? I don't know what it sounds like. Well,
he did speak.
Barely.
I also like the way that they put their hands around their mom, like they hold her like on her shoulder and stuff like that. And like that was really sweet. They're very protective of her.
Yes.
And yeah, I like that. I like that scene of the three of them just kind of walking around New York, getting on the train and talking about Gabby, how she's two-faced. And I like them, even though I talk shit about the mom, I really do feel like her demeanor is so chill that she could be reading you and you just know that it's just all reading. She's not gonna get up and hit you. It's no physical violence. It's just like a read. And I'm just like, I like a calm woman. I just like a woman who's calm and who like just is going to state the facts from her perspective and how, Gabby's two-faced and, she does things. And Chris is like, I really like Gabby because she's so feisty and she like not going to let anybody get over on her. But I'm like, Gabby's the kind of girl who is feisty and who does talk a lot of shit, but then will also get her face beat in.
Yeah, I agree with you also. Yeah, Chris's mom has a whole different vibe when Chris's mom isn't with Chris's sister.
Yeah.
I also like, I was like, oh, they can just film. Yeah, they can just like film on the train. They don't have to get a permit. They can just like, they're just like filming on this like New York train. All those people are there. It was like fascinating. They're just like taking the train to like New Jersey, he's obviously going. So he's going with his parents to a stop and then he's going to leave and then continue on to go to Gabby's. Okay. And so
Penn Station so that he can get a train to New Jersey.
Yes.
They're on either the A train or the train with those bucket seats. I'm trying to think, what are the trains that run on the east side or the west side? Or they said they were on the east side, the lower east side too. So they were on that train too. So he was going to have to take another train over to Penn Station. That's where you get the train from New Jersey.
Gabby was like, supposed to like be there at the halfway house, or like they assumed she would be. Obviously, she wasn't there at the halfway house. It was just the mom and the brother. And then Gabby's supposed to then be at the like final train or bus stop to then pick him up from the bus stop to take him to the house. So they have a conversation in between like the train and the bus where she's like, hey, she calls him and she's just like very Soto,
Hey.
very like hey, and he's like, cool, so I'm gonna like, come to the house. Okay, you want me to come, right? Okay. And then she's like, I'm gonna pick you up. She says it. She didn't have to, but whatever she did. She was like, I'm gonna be there or whatever she says. So this, he gets off the train, honey, and there's all the shots of him looking around and like not a Gabby, like 30 minutes go by. He's like waiting. By the way, his mom gave him a second phone, which meant that his mom knew that there was issues way before with the phone and like brought it, like signed up, brought it. And then she's like, I like that also because she's like, I know my son and he just got out of prison and he shouldn't be tied down. I want my son to just be like calling ladies left and right. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna jump around, but I also really love the scene. And because like it was very New York. They obviously are in New York, but then they go inside like a little bodega and they open up like a fucking drink fridge. And it's all the drinks of like yellows and greens and colors, and the brothers get like whatever, like yummy drink. And then this girl calls. Now, I don't know if it's on Chris's secret phone, Chris's real phone, or the brother's phone, or whatever, but that girl's name is Brittany. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to Gabby's." And the way that he describes this lady and his relationship is just like, "We're cool, we're cool." Chris's eyes in the scene we're watching are huge and big and bright. Now, Chris's eyes in the confessionals, anytime he gets the confessionals, are little bitty squinty winkies, because he is stoned out of his mind during these confessionals, and barely his eyes can be awake. That's fine. We know his sister smokes. We know that Gabby smokes. No big deal. It's all good. But I mean, it's just very different. Gabby, by the way, during the scenes are like lips, lips, lips. And then when we get to the confessionals, which obviously happened like 3 months later, whatever, them lips have been deflated.
Yeah.
That's a Gabby talking about what we're watching. Lips are a different lip.
Yeah. And it's because he doesn't have money to give her to spend on it. Like, he does talk about how disappointed he is in the fact that all the money's gone and that she's spent a lot of it on herself. And he's like now starting to see how selfish she is. I really do think, and I think you said it last episode, that Gabby really thinks that Chris is going to go back to selling drugs, and she's okay with it. She wants to live the drug dealer's wife life. She wants to be the gangster's wife life. And it's like, no, Chris is not good at it. And he's not going to go back for 6 years for you. The reason why he has the money wasn't because of drugs that he like the drug money he buried in the backyard. The reason why he got that money is because the fucking cops beat him up. I mean, the guards beat him up and he wanted in a settlement. So like, no, Chris is never going to be able to afford you the lifestyle that you wanted her and played him for. The truth is, she keeps saying that she loved him and she loves him and all this shit. But if he hadn't given her that amount of money and let her live that life for the month and a half or year and a half that she lived it, would she still be with him? And that's exactly what his family is saying, is that she's only with you because you gave her that amount of money. Y'all met in prison, but then you quickly gave her $60,000.
Yeah, here's the thing. Most people in this show have like the way that the money goes is like from non-prisoner to prisoner. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of like that, like the person not in jail is like putting money in the books, giving them money. Then they come out, honey, the person that's not been in jail has to pay for everything, right? But yeah, this is but there's been 2 situations on this show, and I forgot her fucking name, and I did it last episode too. Darius and Emily?
Mm-hmm.
Is her name Emily?
Dari, Dauri, and Emily.
Yeah. He had given her power of attorney, which gave and his stimulus checks, which was this obviously random thing that happened because COVID happened, so she got that money. And in this situation, a random thing happened to Chris, which not horribly random, but he got a settlement from being beaten up in prison by the guards, whatever, and had to took the money. And then, yeah, just in this case, gave it to Gabby. It's just like, you just don't get to hear about that as much or whatever. And yeah, it's quite different, And in both cases, it's a guy who's gotten money, who's given the woman outside all the money. Like, I wonder what would happen if it was a girl in prison who had come into money, who had just given the guy outside the money and he just like spent it all,
Yeah. I mean, I do think that there is a guy out there, or a type of person who enjoys giving someone else money. Like, I enjoy giving people gifts when I have it to give. And I'm good at it. I don't enjoy giving people cash. Like, I don't enjoy it. Now, people have asked me for cash, huh?
If someone is hearing what Wah said and they're like, oh, yeah, I get that, Wah, because I'm the type of person that has loved giving money away. If you just heard that and that was your reaction to what Wah said, my name is Chris Farah. You can get at me at any time in my Venmo, Chris Farah. Anyway, Wah.
Yeah, like it would make me uncomfortable. I like getting gifts, that's true. But like somebody just giving me straight up cash, like I'm like, what do you want for this? Like, I just, yeah, it makes me uncomfortable. But anyways, so she wants to live that life, and I mean, she is so stupid, doesn't pick him up, and then she's like, well, if he not gonna respect me as his wife, then he deserves to walk home. And I'm like, this is not the way to start off a relationship. So it, as an older millennial, it feels so icky to watch this young girl behave this way, or anybody in this episode or franchise behave so petty when you supposedly love somebody. And you know what, that kind of brings me on to the next couple, and that is Justine and Mike, because I truly feel like Justine has a person in her corner who is emotionally intelligent and she's not. And it really bothered me, her behavior this episode. And I guess I didn't expect not to like her at any point, But now I'm like, something wrong with you. So we start off with Mocha coming to the family event. And this is the first place that she is like rude and unnecessary. She's there, everybody's so happy to see Mocha. Obviously, he's a family friend. And he's been holding Michael down, and Michael loves him. And she's like, "Oh, I'm so glad that you can make it to this family event. So happy to be here, around family." It is just so rude, Chris.
Yeah, it's really it's very rude for the following reasons. A, there's a lot of people there. B, you just got part of the family. How do you know who's important to Michael on that side? And obviously, you see everyone's reaction. She says that everyone's really happy to see him. So A, or whatever. I think I'm on letter C. So yeah, she's weird, but I'm gonna tell you also. It's a red and black themed party. We all realize that. Mocha comes in costume. So he's been, like he deserves to be there. It's in a park. This isn't like at someone's house, so that's also a thing.
Where there's like food and catering, and like you only plan for X amount of people, and here you
There's only
come.
so many seats. Yeah, you're in a, like there's a bench she can squeeze, there's literally so many people there. It isn't like 5. Now Mocha says that he was there for the Michael, like in a way that, I don't know, like I don't know exactly what that means, but like, but he says it in such a way that makes me feel like he helped birth the baby or something. I'm not quite sure. I don't know why that would be what I picked, but I couldn't think of something very important at that time. But yeah, Justine has already been kind of weird and bitchy. I will tell you this. In the heart of my hearts, I said this last episode. I think that this is fake, and I think it's because they actually have a really great relationship. I think that for some reason we're watching a family like come up with little sister mother wife drama because they're going to be like on seasons of this show.
Okay. I
So
hope you're right, because I really do think that Justine is being derisive for no reason. So then Justine and the mom have a conversation, because they're friends, right? They work together.
yeah.
And you and your work friends have a very special bond that most people can't understand, because you spend like 8 hours a day with that person. There is nobody that I spend that much time with. Like, you can say, "Oh, I spend time with my family," and maybe some people do, but I don't, me personally. And so when I spend 8 hours a day with somebody for 4 days a week, that's an intense, like, sped up relationship, especially if we're laughing. Like, you're key. If I have somebody I key with for 8 hours a day, 4 days a week, that's my friend. So when I think of their relationship and how close they must have been for the mom to bring Justine to visit her son in prison with her, you know that there is a baseline level of respect and relationship. So the mother comes over and is like, "Hey, so you could be pregnant." And it starts off like really good, but kind of awkward, because it's like, "No, I'm not telling you about my business that I slept with your son." And then all of a sudden, the mother is like, Mike's mother says, "I really want to have a conversation with you with the way you're going to treat Melody," which is Mike's oldest daughter, because you all are going to be you're going to be her new stepmother, and I just want to make sure that there's some things that understand in the way I raise her. Like, I know your daughter has tattoos and piercings and such, but like Melody, I don't want that for her. Like, I raised her differently." And immediately Justine gets defensive, and she gets defensive because she knows that, and this is a very judgmental thing for me to say, but she knows that to a certain extent that people are going to look at that and think of her being a bad parent. So she automatically takes that in as like, "Oh, you don't think I'm a good parent? You don't think I know what's best for my daughter? You don't think I'm like doing whatever?" And I'm just like, listen, I think it's really cute if you want to go with your kid to get a tattoo, like whatever. I personally, because I'm from a semi-conservative like background, and like, I wouldn't, if my 16-year-old wanted to get something on their body, because I'd be like, you're gonna have that forever, and where are you gonna put it, and is it gonna ruin things in the future? Like, where are you putting it? Are you putting it on your ankle? Like a little ankle tattoo of some cherries, I'm not gonna fight her on it. But like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. So anyways, but obviously that Dominican mother finds it to be like, I don't know, there's just something in the Black community where you don't let your daughters do certain things because you don't want them to be quote unquote fast. Like, sometimes in our community, we don't let our daughters wear nail polish until they're like 12 because it makes them look grown. And all of these things are, I think, at the root of it in an effort to not get men to notice them. And it's another thing that we do as a culture, as to try to save our daughters from being molested or raped. Now, we all know that doesn't actually do anything, and it only stigmatizes the girl and makes her feel shitty when it shouldn't. But at the root of that behavior is trying to stop your child from looking like an adult so that no man will take advantage of her. And so for Justine to get defensive about that, like to feel like it's a direct attack on her parenting, and then kind of be popping and going off on the mother, I found was disrespectful. And I felt like in that environment, Justine should have eaten that and just gone home and told Michael, your mother disrespected me. She made me feel like I was a bad parent by talking about the way I've raised my daughter. No, Justine doesn't do that. She paws off. The mother's like, I need to be respected. Don't pop your head at me. Don't do all these hand gestures because I'm in Michael's life. I'm Michael's mother. You just got here. And Justine is like, whatever, they part. And then Justine immediately goes to her child and starts to tell her child what her new grandma-in-law has just said. And of course the daughter is going to be on her mom's side. Like, what is she supposed to be like? Yeah, no, mom, it really was kind of weird parenting that you let me get a tattoo and piercings. No, she's going to be like, well, my mom is cool, and that, yeah, who are you to judge us, and blah, blah, blah. So then what happens next, Chris? I'm tired of talking.
Okay, well, let me tell you, I disagree with you. I've been waiting for you to let me disagree with you. I think the mom was out of pocket, and I don't think that Justine handled it well. I think that if Michael's mom has questions about how he intends to raise his daughter, he and her can have that conversation. If Michael's baby mama, wants to have a conversation with Justine, about how they're going to co-parent, then she can have that conversation with Justine. But no, I don't think that Michael's mom has a place to talk about it. It's not even her child. And also, Michael's mom, your track record of what you've done with your own kids, let me just check, tattoo jail for many years. So what? Girl, what? That's a tattoo? Honey, your son was in jail. I don't know how many has Justine had kids in jail? Because let's just talk about bad moms. And maybe we're gonna fucking talk about it. Let's fucking talk about it.
Yeah,
so
I
felt.
Yeah,
but
I don't think you're wrong. I don't
Thank
think
you.
you're wrong.
Thank you.
I do think that the grandmother, it wasn't her place to do that. You're absolutely right. However, I don't know that warrants Justine's reaction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that, listen, I think a wise-minded person that cannot be reactive is a very, very good trait that I'm working on, right? To stop, to not be reactive to stimuli, that to have that space in between, because what that person is giving you or whatever that stimuli is giving you really has nothing to do with you. It's more about them. And so you can pick and choose how you give your energy. Now, of course, that's like meditation Buddha shit that you have to, like, I don't know, somehow work on with mind control meditation back down the line. But yes, Justine gets incredibly defensive. Is like, my daughter's head of the cheerleading thing and the national scholar of blah blah blue this, and she's great and blah blah blue. But yeah, also, Justine probably has tattoos. So in Justine's mind, yeah, it's not a bad thing to have tattoos. I think that, like, I don't have tattoos. So if I had a daughter and she was 16 and she wanted to get a tattoo, I'd be like, oh, absolutely fucking not. No, it is my absolute, I'm going to relish in being able to tell you no. Like, I can't wait, like.
Well, I mean, obviously, if you get a tattoo, that does mean that you're a high school dropout who's a slut. So why would the grandmother want her granddaughter to get tattoos? It was just an unnecessary time to have this conversation and an unnecessary line of conversation, which it makes me think that you might be right and that it might be all set up drama. Now,
Thank you.
Justine goes to her daughter, and then the sister comes over and is like, you're not going to be popping your neck at my mom. Like, let's be respectful. But the sister comes over with Melody, which is the person that they don't want to have tattoos. And
Mhm.
I'm like, you have just completely discredited Justine in the eyes of this 16-year-old.
Mhm.
And Justine will now no longer be able to tell that child anything
Nothing.
because she's witnessed Justine talking shit to her grandmother. Then she's witnessed Justine talking shit to her aunt. And again, Justine just got there. Now, Michael then gets involved and he's like, listen, this is unnecessary. I don't want any of this to happen. Yo, you guys are my family. She's my wife. Like, if we're going to deal with anything about the daughter, we're going to deal with it. And that's period. And I'm like, yes, Michael. And he's also like, you know what? My mother and my sister had way too much say in previous relationships that I've had. And I know that I've set that up that way, but this is not what's going to happen with Justine.
Mhm.
And then they get home. And so he actually stands up for her in front of
Mhm.
them.
Mhm.
And Justine's not satisfied with it. And I don't get why. They get home and he's trying to talk to her. She then tries to talk over him and he says, "Let me finish." And he's like, "Okay, this is what I want. Like, this is what I need right now. It's a lot of stress." Like, so in that moment, I defended you, yes, but here's what I needed to say to you is that you needed to have controlled yourself in that moment. Don't make me publicly have to defend you in front of my family
Yeah.
because we're all family. So
Yep.
he's trying to tell her that and she's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And that's not how I was raised. And I'm like, "Don't nobody care how you're raised." Like, you obviously had a very, like, tumultuous first 2 baby daddies. So, like, your track record when it comes to being in relationships and making things work is not very good. Like, for whatever reason, your exes don't take care of their kids, which has nothing to do with you, but it has everything to do with the man you chose to be with. So, like, let's try to do it differently. And so, I just got mad at her because it's clear that he wants to have an adult conversation and she's not ready to. And he says, "Okay, well, then I guess we'll have the conversation when you're ready to have it." And he's a little annoyed by it, but I'm like, God, I hate watching somebody who's had therapy try to talk to somebody who hasn't, who isn't emotionally intelligent, and it just makes me mad. It just makes me mad. I can't get over it.
You know what? Here's the thing. I get it. We're gonna see a lot more of them. We're gonna have to deal with it. So, but God bless Michael. I like, I'm gonna like literally just like, I don't know. I'm gonna think of Michael and think of like what a great archetype to think about, like a nice gentleman who like looks handsome and is tall and who's emotionally fit. I will try not to have like the
Look at
whole
that hair.
ex drug dealer like felon situation, but we'll see. Can I bring up a couple that is like whatever neither here nor there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about Eris and Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
Aris?
Eris.
Okay. So she has picked him up, right? And they have 24 hours to get from point A to point B when the point B is the halfway house. Okay. So they are driving. Okay. So and it's a whole thing where he has to get there by a certain time. Of course he doesn't get there by the exact fucking time. We know what happens. They go like right back to jail. Okay. And we also know that like Cameron is like the horniest, funniest sidekick character of a 90s buddy comedy. Like he's at the psychic, he's like, I don't know, but he's just so every time he comes on screen and every time he makes an expression, I'm like, I need to I like, you are castable. He is like he's just a comedic Gumby faced, just his rhythm and his like delivery, it's so funny, like how certain people have a weird
Charisma.
presentational charisma. Anyway, so I just like but he's also fucking wild. What a wild character, like he just everything, he's bananas. So he, of course, is also a rapper, which of course is how I guess she met, him. Like she's very beautiful and he is like kind of eccentric, So I think that, a lot of it's like, why would you be with this person? I don't get it, but I think that I'm trying to lean into the fact that he is, honey, a rapper or whatever, and like a big deal. So he's planning his next video in the car as he's like being driven to the halfway house. And he's like, oh, yes, my next video has to be just like everything booty shaking, women licking each other, like he's so horny all the time. Like, obviously, like talking about like, whether she was gonna ride his face, like he's just, honey, been thinking about sex 24/7. He talks about, he's like, I mean, I've been in prison for like whatever, like I forgot, 30 months, and he just for 30 months, just day in day out, sex, 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 booties, booty, 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 vagina, vagina, but just like this man is just like yeah, he lives and breathes pee pee, Wow.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's so interesting to like see a character who's so like, you know, it's not a blessing and a curse, but I know a lot. I know some guys who like are like that, who think of sex all the time, and sometimes it's really hard for them because they just like go places and just have boners, and there's nothing they can do about it because their brain is just wired for sex, 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 sex all the time. And he's like, it's not going to be like any Pornhub type stuff. And I'm like, did you just say Pornhub on TV? Like, he's so crazy. And then like she's like, okay, but there's a limit. And he's like, oh, of course, babe, there's a limit. Like I love the way that he's not combative with her. Like I like the fact that he's like, okay, I see your point of view. Like there is gonna be that. But he's just fantasizing and he's telling her all of his fantasies. And like I want a man who tells me all their fantasies. I want a man who is just like, babe, wouldn't it be great if you could just slide your vagina lips up and down my face? Like just so so open with it that I can't be mad at him for it. And then they get to a parking lot and he's like, can we like he's like basically can I grab the muffin? And he starts to describe like what a muffin is, and it doesn't make any sense, but it makes sense to him.
Wait, I can talk about this. Is exactly what he says, and I did ask you about this. He's like, muffin time. This is what muffin time. You know how when you bake muffins and they just when they're like rising, they come right out of the oven, they're like overflowing over the muffin tin. And what he wants to do is like put his like face in it. I will tell you at this moment, he's fondling a breast. So I'm like, okay, are muffins breasts? Are muffins butt cheeks?
Who knows?
Are they both? Does he want to do both? It doesn't make it like you put his face in boobies and you can put a face in butts.
He just wants to put his face in folds of fat on a woman's body. So that could be fupa, that could be butt, that could be titas. Like he just wants it all. And I'm just like, listen, I can't be mad at him. There's something about him that is, I would not have DM'd him on Facebook based on this music video. But if I had met him in person and he was like this little man who just wanted to jump on me, I would be like, okay.
You'd be like Monique and Derek. Haha. You'd be like, okay. Just kidding. I love you so much. But let me also wait. I want to ask you a question. You do you still have your nose ring?
No.
Okay. So she makes out with him, and in the middle of it, she like loses her nose ring. So my question to you was, when you had a nose ring, did you like ever make out and does it fall out?
I was doing something and it fell out. Never making out. Like sometimes I would take a shirt off and accidentally rip it out. So it wasn't a good feeling. I want to get it re-pierced though, but like better, like a better place. And I want them to put the ring in right away. And like, I don't know, just want it to be like
Different.
not this experience. Yeah. So I loved the fact that at some point when they showed them in the hotel room, we find out, and we being me, find out that Vaseline has a cocoa butter oil that comes in a thing. It's not like a dip in, it's like a squeezy.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, now that whenever I go to Target, I got to look for that because I didn't know that there was a squeezy oil by Vaseline.
Here's the thing about it. It's only probably in certain markets. Like, yeah, they're so what was talking about, they ever get to a hotel, whatever, they sold the 24 hours. But there's 3 insert shots that were great. Okay, one insert shot is this exact brand of the cocoa butter Vaseline that I was talking about that, yes, I had never seen. Second shot, which I knew very well, and I love this product, is the Hot 6 oil.
I've never heard of it.
I love Hot 6 oil. Hot 6 oil.
What is it?
Okay. It's probably like it's probably like a black hair care product, I think. But
okay.
or you find it in the black hair product aisle, or but it's like Hot 6 oil. You can use it for anything. Okay, so so both things, I'm like, are both things being used as a lube? Like, which one is the lube? It's like, I didn't know if any of it was just like just extra moisture. And then the third thing is, which is interesting, is all as eyelashes on the banister. But then when we cut to her, she's still wearing eyelashes, which I was like, what is happening?
Yeah,
you have eyelash extensions and then you just put strips on top and you took the strips off? Is this bad editing?
No, I think what it is that it was just the next day and they just filmed it. So they showed her they showed the lube, they showed the eyelashes off because maybe they were in the shower, and they showed the Hot 6, which I didn't know. I thought the Hot 6 was the lube, and I thought that the Vaseline was just like Black people staple items that one would need if you are a Black person, that you have 2 types of lotion, one a Vaseline and one a regular lotion, so you can mix them together to provide stellar all day moisture.
But one layer, you wouldn't put Vaseline layer on top of lotion, you would actually mix them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then And then yeah, so I don't know what was happening, but then it felt like it was just the next day or that morning, or just a shot out, a scene shot out of sequence thrown in. But the next day they get up and they've had a wild time. Okay, Cameron is like, it was awesome. And they get back in her Jeep Wrangler, which I thought was cute, and they continue driving to Kentucky. They had 24 hours to drive from, I can't remember where she said, but to Kentucky. And I'm like, that's a long ass drive. Y'all was on the road for a long time. I mean, that's like hours, what I thought. Maybe Ohio? No, that's not hours then, because I think they touch. I don't know about that. I don't know about this part of the country that I'm currently in right now. So
Learning. She's learning.
yeah, learning. So yeah, she drops him off at the halfway house. He walks in. It feels like they have to drop them off like so far away from the halfway house. It's weird. And he has this one little sad bag, and he goes in and she screams, "I love you."
The sad bag got, like, for some reason it got me, the sad bag, because at this point now I like him. Like, I like this character of Cameron, and then I felt for him as he, like, goes to this halfway house and it's all his stuff's like in a trash bag. It's like in a white trash bag. And I had this moment where I was like,
Why
I
didn't they
love
stop at
you.
Ross and get him
Oh, is that what you're thinking? Yeah,
yeah.
I guess I was like, it is dehumanizing and demoralizing what happens to people, or if it would feel demoralizing to me to, I guess, have to walk into a halfway house with what I have into a plastic bag. Like, I think that he doesn't seem bothered by it, and maybe because he's almost out of prison and there's been other things, I'm sure, but I know in this one moment I was like, "Oh god, it fucking sucks." I can't, I would not be, it would just, even that moment, I was like, all my stuff in a plastic bag, just walking to a place, and that's all, I just wouldn't be able to handle it. I think I'd be whatever. It's not all his stuff. He might have his stuff anywhere, but just the plastic, I don't know, the trash bag really got me. So,
Yeah, it's dehumanizing and it's demoralizing, definitely. And I don't think anybody likes it, but like I think at some point it's just like, what are you gonna do? And yeah.
okay, can we move on?
Yes, let's move on to Nathan and Skylar, because
Yep,
speaking of
that's
demoralized,
exactly. Yep,
yeah.
yep.
Speaking of demoralized, like, wow, we see Nathan go through so much in this episode when it comes to, it's so interesting because maybe this does happen in other communities, but I see it the most in white American communities where like white on white, like, oh, she's better than me because she comes from a space, or she's richer than I am. Like, it must happen everywhere, but the classism in the white community is so interesting to me. And
I
he's
agree.
completely feeling that way. Another thing, part of the demoralizing, I think there was something that he said that I was going to link to Cameron and that feeling, but we'll get to it. So we start off with the van pulling up and the girl jumping out, and I'm like, who is this girl? She doesn't look like any of the pictures I've seen of her.
No, 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 no. And I think so. She runs up. Her mom was like, "Oh, you look great." And I think, God bless, is that she looks healthy. I think that she looks like she's probably not on drugs right now, which, like, is a healthy look.
Mm-hmm.
She looks clear-headed and, maybe even that kind of like pleasantly a little chubby, but for her, because we've seen her pictures, but I think in that kind of way, that means that, like, she's not eating or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
was. So, she says that she feels humble in this moment, which makes sense. He says that she smells like jail, which, like, they both would know. And I also, what does that smell like? I'm like, in my mind, I was like, is it metal? Like metal bars? Is it like just like like BO? I'm just like, is it certain kind of like sterile kind of like whatever they wash your garments in, that, like, that weird cheap detergent smell? I don't know. Um, she says that she's bougie and her mom has brought her clothes. Now, I will tell you this right now. The mom opens up the back of her car, and we know the mom is like middle class. We'll talk about that more. But the mom opens up a TJ Maxx bag. This bitch says that she's bougie, and they take out clothes from TJ Maxx. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being like a Maxxinista, but like,
Bougie is not what that is. Also, did she say this is Chanel? Ma'am,
uh,
ma'am, it's not Chanel if it's at TJ Maxx.
baby, you don't own any Chanel.
I mean,
Chanel's not middle class.
yeah, it's not.
You don't
Chanel
own
is
Chanel.
not, Chanel bag costs $8,000. The little bag, the little one, 8,000. So like you're bougie maybe for like Marone County, fucking Kentucky, I guess, girl. I don't know where you
Well,
are,
to
but
Nathan, she is. I think that like Skylar has like been judging herself against God bless people that I'm sure she feels bougie in front of. So, but
she's like, I was hanging out in trap houses for fun. And when she said that, I was like, shut.
I hate her. Yeah, I was
I
like,
mean,
oh,
yeah, and like, yeah, it was crazy. So she says her childhood was so sheltered, and then like she just got into, she started smoking. I hate when people say they started smoking weed at 14. I hate that whole weed is a gateway drug. Like, it's so stupid. There are people who smoke weed and only smoke weed for all
yeah,
of their lives.
all of their lot people. Yes.
Because sometimes you just need to chill. You don't necessarily need to escape the planet and become a toothless homeless person. Like
Also,
those,
sometimes alcohol is worse than weed. So, like, why would you? Yeah, and alcohol is whatever. So, no one's like alcohol's a gateway drug.
yeah. But alcohol gets you, it's a different feeling now that I can drink it. Like I don't know, like there are two different feelings, and there are two different reasons why. There's many different reasons why people do drugs, to escape whatever it is in their life, to be cool, and then oops, they create a habit. But like there's some people who do drugs and never do it again. They're like, oh no, I don't like this. I don't like feeling out of control. I'm good. You
Mhm.
know? So then they go into this coffee house, and she puts on her TJ Maxx wear, which she's some stuff, she's, this is so cute. I'm like, girl, cute is the wrong word to describe what you're doing. She gets into this coffee shop, and Nathan immediately is overwhelmed because he is on the bougie side of the tracks, and he like doesn't know how to order coffee and is quiet. And then she goes to the person behind the counter. She's like, I just got out of jail. And that person's like, oh my God, what is gel coffee like? And like, I mean, it's like instant. And I was like,
These two white girls, like, I mean, when I was that blonde girl that was so excited to ask her about prison coffee was like. I mean, was that her way of being like, prison's cool? That sounds great.
yeah.
You
And the thing is,
know?
though, I was like, wow, good answer, good question, right? Because she didn't bat an eye. She's like, cool. Oh my
Yeah.
God, what's the coffee like there? And I was like, thank you. This is what we needed to keep it moving, you know? And
Salesperson. Good salesperson. Bring it back around
yeah.
to the product. Bitch, what do you want? Let's get back to what do you actually want? Yeah, it's like, they're doing espressos. They probably get a latte. Like, yeah, he does not know what to order. He's like, whatever you ordered, babe. She orders an iced latte. It looks like an iced latte. Then 1 second later, he drinks it, honey, as if it was like mother's milk and he had just been birthed. Honey, it was gone. I mean, how thirsty was him? Was he? Was him.
Was it? And then like, so he picks it up, right? And this is something any mistake made. When there's a little bit of coffee on the top of the thing, he picks it up, he goes to drink it, he spills it, and he loses his mind. He loses his mind, and he's like, yeah, I just, he goes in the car and he changes his shirt, and his fucking tidy whitey is ripped. And then I was like, oh. And then I start to notice that his hat is like really dingy. And then we like see his car, and all of a sudden I'm starting to see the things that maybe he's now super embarrassed by. And then he tries to like talk about how his car is sounding rickety, and she's like, well, it looks like a driver. Well, she's trying to be positive about everything. And he is like so anxious that he stops talking.
He suffers a panic. It feels like we watch someone suffer a panic attack and then also try and not have it be known that this person's having a fucking panic attack. He says something where he was just like, it blows his mind he crossed a girl of her caliber, And it really goes to it's interesting when men place women in a value category in their lives and how they treat that woman based upon what level they put them at. Like she is basic middle class. I mean, which is great.
Fine.
But he treats her like she's Kate Middleton. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like and is verklempt and has been obsessed and just very much feels like one point he says this, he's like he just really wants it to be where she really loves him and it's not just jail talk and that she really loves him. And I wonder why, what he thinks she would get out of faking anything with him. That's
Yeah.
what I didn't understand. Like, what does he think that she's faking? Like, what does she benefit from being in a relationship with you, in the sense of like, why wouldn't she just go stay with her mom that she obviously loves talking on the phone with, and they both have a very close relationship? If she didn't love you, like, why are you so? And you've been together already. This isn't. It wasn't like you just met just now. Like you've already. I don't know why. That part was confusing to me.
It's confusing. I mean, and she said that they've only been together, like seen each other in person, like a couple times, and so
Yeah.
she is worried that there's some kind of change or difference when it comes to that. But it was just very weird that he's like, I hope she's here for the right reasons. And I'm like, what are the right you're not on drugs, so you think she's using you because you have like access to drugs? And then he's like,
Grandma's house, like
yeah, I want to.
you just looking for a grandma's house. She just loves that place. I mean, it's not. Also, I like the grandma's house. If you think I don't like it, I do like it. Go on.
I like it. It just needs some upgrades, and it
Sure.
needs to like it. Yeah, and I think like it has such great bones, and there
I
can be
want
a
the
lot done
wallpaper to stay. I like the wallpaper. Is that crazy? Well, actually, no, I probably paint over it, but the wallpaper was crazy.
Yeah, so she's like trying to be really grateful to him and be like, yeah, there's are some changes, like he told me it needed to be worked on, and I just didn't realize how much it needed to be worked on, and but he was supposed to get some of this done and he didn't. And again, there's my frustration. As soon as I saw, like, it's kind of like Tanya and Sinjin. It's kind of like any other group, any person that is telling someone, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get this done. When you come here, this thing is going to look this way. And then you get there and nothing is done. And you're like, well, why did you lie to me about it? Why did you pretend like you could get this done? Why didn't you just say, hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I haven't done the thing I was going to do. So when you get to the house, just know it's not where I said it was going to be. Like, what is that like? Because that is, I don't know. Anyways, I'm picking
I
on the
get it.
stupidest thing.
I get it.
But yeah, I don't want to come somewhere and be disappointed. And so I need you to temper my expectations by being honest with me about what we're gonna do. If I had walked into that house and there was like dirty clothes everywhere, because Tara already went there and did some stuff. She put those frames out. She put the pillows there on that old ass like 1890s couch, and she like did some stuff. But then the space they're supposed to sleep in is like littered with stuff. So she's like, listen, so how can I help? Because can I just throw everything away? And he's like, no. So then I would be even more mad because I'm like, not only is this place not livable for me now, but like when I want to remedy it in the way that I think makes the most sense, you're telling me I can't do it. So then why didn't you fucking do it before I got here?
Well, I see what you're saying, but also like, I mean, he's also giving her a place to stay, and she's, maybe she has to bring down her bougie attitude a little bit and just like get to know some dolls, honey. Dolls.
Well,
Just
I'm ungrateful.
waking up every morning and just having dolls just like blink blink. Like, I mean, I want to know more about the grandma. I really did love the wallpaper. I mean,
And also the pictures that were on the wall that she was calling creepy was literally his lineage. So I
I
thought she
know.
should have like backed off on that. However, yeah, we know I'm ungrateful, Chris. So like I wouldn't have been in a space to feel grateful for having a place to stay. But anyways.
But the honest to God thing is, yeah, like she probably would assume that her mother's house would be clean and nice and there'd be a place for her to stay, but she's choosing not to stay there for a reason. Whether she doesn't want to be under her mom's guise, maybe, like there was a reason why she became rebellious at 14. So some part feels better, and then he just like gets like a scary mask and puts it on and runs downstairs with like grandpa clothes on and like kind of scares her, and then they're like LOL, and then like run upstairs to have sex who knows where. I don't know if that grandma's bad or whatnot, but he's just like, yeah, that cam has always been there.
Yeah. All right. So our last couple that we're going to talk about today
we are.
is these two idiots. I mean, Monique is a psycho.
Monique is fucking nanas, and you know what? Derek kind of reminds me of Cameron.
Yeah, except for he's a better looking Cameron.
Better looking Cameron and not as funny Cameron. Like, not as castable Cameron. Yeah.
So we start off with the morning after they had sex, and she's like, "It was good, but Derek's young." And how old is he? 29 and 34. Girl, y'all the same age. Y'all the same age. Derek is young, and there wasn't much foreplay. And I'm like, he just got out of prison. There's not going to be any foreplay, sis. Also, he might not be of the generation / group of men who find foreplay, who understand that foreplay is valuable. Like, there are plenty of men who don't do foreplay.
She gives him a 7, honey. 7 or 8 out of 10, honey. And then he's like, yeah, it was the best you ever had. You know, she's like, it was good. She will give a very dry response. That's one thing about Monique, honey. She has no problem just like, anyway, she just whatever it is.
It seems like to me Monique gives that like every she looks tired. Like, I just feel like everything feels like it's hard for her to do.
It is.
Yeah. So it's like, that's why I feel like she's like, it was good. Like, and I also think that she is so much about like sheltering herself and her feelings that showing any kind of like big emotion is her being too vulnerable. That's what it feels like.
I can see that. During this conversation right after sex, though, the light is hitting her in such a way that like looks like she's actually glowing laying in bed, and she like this like sunlight on her face. They have multiple sports drinks by the bed, so they have had to hydrate. Then a private number calls his phone, or has been calling, and he's like declined it, and she gets upset. So then he has to call back, and when he calls back, it's like someone breathing, and then he hangs up. And in a confessional, he's like, yeah, like people call me. It's like this woman, like, I started like talking to, but that was before Monique, but then, never met up with her. Like something incredibly shady.
I mean, he's just like, it's just like, I don't want to say. And he pauses for a long time. And he's like, it was just weird. It was weird. And it's like, how does anybody have that number already? That's another thing that I was confused about. And like, just her being mad about him denying a private number. I deny private numbers all the time, because if your number is private, why would I answer? I need to know who this is. Like, so I didn't get that either. It's again, and then she's like, I just am mad at her because I feel like she's going to hold things over his head and try to make him seem like he's ungrateful. And then the narrative is going to be like, I gave him this, I gave him that, and he couldn't even do this. But it's like, girl, you cannot just put this person in a box or in your purse and carry him around as your accessory because you're saving him. It's like she's got a Captain Save-A-Ho complex right now, and she's fully throwing it on him like, you owe me everything.
Yes, but while she actually could do that. Okay.
Oh my God, he's so small compared to her.
Tiny man. I mean, yes, she could do that. Okay. So I see what you're saying, but absolutely she can. Okay?
I mean, literally standing next to her, he looks like he is 4'11", 95 pounds.
You know what? They're big. I think their biggest. I think they look different in the car. For some reason, when they're in the car, like she just looks also very tall. Like, I'm like, how tall is Monique? Like, is she, I don't know. Anyway, so, but yeah, okay, God bless. So, all right, so this is what happens. So he goes take a shower, and then, his first day out. So he, on the streets, had procured himself a Cartier watch, honey, and is like, his brother or his cousin, I don't know, has been like keeping it for him, but he gets it back. So he gets out of the shower, honey, he puts his like Gucci shirt on. It's like a cream Gucci shirt, like pants, and like a diamond encrusted Cartier watch. He's feeling his best life, and she puts on like a white bodycon dress like Cher from Clueless. I mean, it's short, it's white, it's
strapless, but then she has her bra, one strap of a bra out, so it was interesting. And then like he wants a photo shoot at all times. I mean, he like literally is my nightmare. Chris can speak to this. Chris can speak that when someone's like, "Hey, let's take a picture," you get 3 fucking pictures out of me max, and then I'm out of there. Like,
Honey, he was like Giselle. He was like, keep taking him, I'll pose. He was just like, just don't even stop taking them. He is like, here, 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 Vogue, 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 this one, that one, show it. Oh, I mean, he is just like, I don't know if he's just like back on the gram, and he must have had 1 billion story bops that night. You know, that he just like, he's like announcing his return. They go to like a restaurant and he orders every fish in the sea.
Ah, so delicious. I said I would love some crab legs. I was like, ooh, I had oysters last night. Oh, so good. And so I was like, ooh, I'm gonna give me some crab legs. I'm gonna find a spot right now. Give me some crab legs. I mean, like, he's was so ridiculous. And then this is what made me mad. I said, you don't have a cent to your fucking name, and you have
Yeah.
the audacity to order crab legs, lobster, and a rack of lamb.
With a
Fuck out
Cartier
of here.
watch on, honey?
Fuck out of here.
With a Cartier watch on.
Yeah. It is just like, I was like, no, sir, you no. And she doesn't stop him.
I I literally would have been like, she says something like, "That's a lot of food," or whatever, but, like, yeah, in her mind, she knows she's paying for it, so I'd have been like, "There's champagne already at the table." I mean, listen, at the end of the day, this whole thing ends up being $500, and before she can even pay that, he's already asked her to go to the casino and for her to pull out more money in the ATM.
He just thought she was gonna spend what, $1,000 this night on him?
His first night out of prison, his first night out of prison, he feels like he's entitled to her dropping at least 1K. And by the way, that means that I think this man thinks that $500 is going to go right to him to go to the casino. Like, that's not even split 250 because
Yeah.
I can't imagine that he would get 250 and be okay with that to go to a casino. But it's so crazy because in my mind I'm like, well, if you fucking had people hold a Cartier watch and you have fun somewhere, you
I mean, I don't know. I honestly do not know.
you're
So
right.
he's filming and somebody's walking down the street and says something to him and he just does this. And I'm like, oh, and she immediately gets mad. And I'm thinking it's a woman. And this person
Mhm.
then gets a mic and signs the NDA and then walks in and is like, yeah, what's up? Blah, 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 blah. He's been gone for what, 9 years? And so people recognize him because he's from there. And so then he gets up, he gives the guy his phone, and Monique is immediately angry. Like, well, why'd you give him your number? And I'm like, something's wrong with you. Like, you have got with a very popular guy. And I mean, even when they leave the restaurant, after he's like, oh, you're going to pay for this? And she's like, well, I guess I have to. Somebody on the street says what's up to him and she's pissed. And I said, what did you think was going to happen? She literally doesn't want him to talk to anyone.
Yeah, she just like old neighborhood, old gang means that he'll get back in drugs again. Also, but I think that also is this. She doesn't want to go to casino for whatever reason either because she doesn't want to spend
Oh,
money.
she doesn't want to. She doesn't want. Yeah, she doesn't want to go to see. She don't want to walk around because in those shoes. Go ahead. I will
Yeah,
get. Go ahead.
all of those things. So, this man that like the first guy that comes to the restaurant, he like, they're like, "Oh, what are you up to?" Derek's like, "What are you gonna do tonight?" He's like, "Fishing," which we can assume means fishing for girls. Now, fishing for women chasing. I'm on the prowl, honey.
Mhm.
And so at this point, Monique has already yawned like many times and already made it known that she doesn't want to go to the casino. So when this man comes, it's like he then puts his number in. It's like Derek's phone. It's like being like, all right, well, if you won't go to the casino with me, I'm going to go with this guy and we're going to hook up with women. Like what it feels like, like me and this guy on the town. I got the Cartier watch. I got the Gucci. So they go back to the hotel and they have this conversation where he's like, go to the casino with me. Like, you are up at this time. Like, you've been texting me at this exact time, but while I was in prison, like, you've been up. Like, so she, honey, puts on silver Birkenstocks, changes her shoes, and decides to, get her ass down to the slot machine.
Oh, they go. So I didn't see that. So what I
Oh,
saw, yeah.
okay.
So what I saw is her get mad at the one dude and then take his phone and delete the number out of his phone
Yes,
like a
that
fucking
happened.
weirdo.
That's
And
happened.
then the whole time I'm worried that she's gonna spill some food on her fucking shirt because it's all white. And
Oh my god, I wrote that in the notes too because when he feeds her, there's marinara sauce everywhere. I'm like, he's gonna fucking drop marinara sauce on that white shirt, but he didn't. He didn't.
yeah. So she gets out of that eating adventure without having anything spill on her shirt, thank God. And
Poor
then
Nathan. Nathan couldn't say the same thing, could he?
yeah, I couldn't. And then she pays the $500 bill, and he's like, I want to go to casino. I want to have fun. This is my first night out. And she's like, no, I want to go to sleep. Because she thinks it's like the gateway back to his old life. And then he's like, well, got to go to the ATM, which Chris said. It's so stupid. It made me so mad. Then they go and they get in the car, and she's mad. And he's trying to explain to her why it is that he wants to do the things that he wants to do. And instead of her just saying, Derek, I'm really worried that this is going to be like a gateway into bad behavior that I don't want to see you replicate. So I don't want to be a part of like supporting that habit and behavior. So I would love to just stay in and get to know each other. Um, and then when she says that she doesn't want to go in the and walk around downtown in those shoes, and then we cut to and see the shoes that she's actually wearing, it's the silver Birkenstocks. And I'm like, so then what shoe do you need to walk around in to be comfortable? Because those look pretty comfortable. Like,
Wait, I thought the silver Birkenstocks were the shoes she changed into to go walk.
no, those were the ones because we see them when they're getting in I see the silver Birkenstocks when she's getting into the car after the dinner.
Mama, those are the most comfortable shoes you're gonna ever have. If those are the shoes, honey.
Yeah.
I mean, Uggs, I guess. I don't know.
I
Try
don't
Uggs.
know.
Silver
And
Uggs, girl.
so
Silver
then they
Uggs.
get back to the hotel, and she's then gives him a weird ultimatum, and she's laying in the bed, and she's like, well, then if you're gonna go, then just don't come back. Girl, it's too early in y'all's relationship for you to giving him ultimatums, especially when this is his first night out and he wants to go out. Like, you just need to explain how you're feeling. Don't continue to lord your power over him. And like, you're the stupid one who just spent $500 on one meal, not even a pair of shoes, on a meal that's gone. And you're just gonna poop out. No.
They took some home. But I mean, like, by the way, how long? I'm like, how good are I don't know. Can you reheat? I don't know. I don't understand fish. I mean, I'm not gonna even ask a question. I don't give a fuck about fish. Yeah, it's very awkward to watch. It doesn't feel like it's going to be a lasting situation. It's a lot of insecurity. It's a lot of cringe,
Wait, tell me about the casino. Because the last
Well, that
one
was it.
was oh.
I don't even see the casino. All you see is that she puts on the shoes and they walk out of the hotel room.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they get her out. She gets out.
Oh, the last thing I see is him going down to the lobby to get like some more Red Bull and then coming back in. You didn't see that?
No.
Yeah, so
No.
what I see is her being like, "Don't come back." And he closes the door and to the bedroom, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get some more drinks or whatever." So he goes down into the lobby of the hotel and gets some more Red Bull, and then starts to walk back to the room and tells the camera that he like what he wants, or like why he wants to go out tonight and like have a good time or whatever.
He talks her into it. Wait, so did you see the part? Okay, sorry. Did you see the part I talked about where he's like, "You're up at this time"?
Yes, I did see that.
Okay, then I don't know how he does it, but then somehow they leave.
Oh, she's turning out to be a character that I'm not interested or that I don't like because it's hard for me to watch people who are super insecure maneuver about the space, and she's that person. And it feels just gross. So yeah.
Even about the insecurity, it's not hard for me to watch someone insecure because I understand it, but it's someone who doesn't understand their insecurity and then who acts out in aggressive ways to other people. Like 'cause some insecure people can just be like mousy within themselves or sad or whatever. That's fine, whatever you want to do. But it's like when, it's always hard when hurt people, or you feel like you are acting a certain like aggressive way because you're feeling something that, I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like, also think about it this way. If the genders were swapped and it was a man lording over her and holding her hostage based on the gifts that he's chosen to give her and the things that he's chosen to do on her behalf, and then expects her to have sex with him all the time, like that's what it feels like to me. It's like, I have done all this for you. I have done this and done all this, and now that you're out, you owe me. So you owe to do everything that I want you to do because I'm the smart one. I'm the person of reason. And if I say we're going to go to bed at 12:30, then we're going to bed at 12:30.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I was excited to watch this. I'm excited to keep watching this season. It's really, really good. And we're just gonna roll on into January with more love after Lockup because they just keep showing us. You know, all the things.
Apparently, Justine and Michael are filming Life After Lockup
Oh,
right
that's what I
now.
meant. Yeah, Life After Lockup. Yep, I saw that.
Yeah.
That's why I
So
think it's fake. That's why I think their drama's fake. They're just trying to like they're trying to create a uh conflict to, feed us for the next couple of weeks and seasons. But you know
okay.
what? All right.
Yeah.
All right, my loves. Thank you so much for listening. And if you want more of us, you can absolutely follow us on our social medias. We are DocuSweeties on Instagram, DocuSweeties on TikTok, and DocuSweeties1 on Twitter. Now, this entire time we've been live streaming, which means that you can see the visual aspect of our faces as we make funny faces. We're just like Cameron, like very animated people. So if you want to see that, how would you do it, Wa?
You would go to patreon.com/DocuSweeties. It's $10 a month. You support our podcast, support us getting this stuff out, support our editing, and it allows us to continue to provide quality content to you, and you get it right away. So it is now 2:26 p.m. Central Time on Saturday, January 7th. And those of you who are a part of the Patreon, you're going to get to see the visuals of what you were listening to at about 2:35 p.m. Like, I mean, immediately. We also do a live every Monday, which I feel like, it's great. So come and join us. You get a little bit of insight of to what we do. Last week we did what our favorite holiday gifts were, and or what we got for the Christmas. And I told Chris that I would be wearing her makeup palette that she got me for my birthday every day because I hadn't opened it until January. She was very upset, so I've been wearing it every day. So now the glitter on my eyes is from that makeup palette. But anyways, you get to get that insider tip stuff if you join our Patreon. Again, that's patreon.com/adocusweeties. Right now we have a docu-series on our Patreon that no one has even heard yet, so they're getting exclusive content way before everybody else. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Don't forget to give us 5 stars. Don't forget to rate us and share our podcast with your friends because it is quality nonsense. Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.